Hello, fellow seekers, and welcome to another installation of My Road to Redemption. And I appreciate you joining me for my sharing of my personal faith walk. So last week, where we left it off was talking about how I had decided that I was going to start taking 2 classes at once. And what I want to discuss is what happened. So I was taking those 2 classes, and I was learning a lot, and it was really good for me from a learning perspective. But what was happening is I was teaching these Wednesday night Bible studies. And I don't really want to say teaching, I want to say facilitating. But I was facilitating these Wednesday night Bible studies. And our church was starting to make calls from the pulpit for more people to donate time to the church. And there's reasons behind it, but we're not going to go into it. It doesn't matter. And in the Bible studies, as I was praying out, I was consistently praying for people in our Bible study to donate time to the church. And I get through the second or third week of praying for this. And I realized very quickly that basically everybody in my Bible study donates time to this church. Except me. I was the only one, really. And I'd kind of justified it in my head when I started to get that tinge of conviction that it was okay because I was doing 2 classes and God had called me to do 2 classes. And the truth is God didn't call me to do 2 classes. In my pride and arrogance, I wanted to do 2 classes. I wanted to get done sooner. Like the credential meant something. I think this was God's way of reminding me that I wasn't in GCU because of the paper that comes at the end. I was there to build a working relationship with Christ. And it's worked for me. And so I had decided right then and there that I'm going to stop taking 2 classes, which meant instead of getting it done, in 2.5 years or whatever my goal was, that was probably going to take closer to 4. But to do that, I was going to give up the second class so that I could make sure that I donated more time to church, specifically on Sundays. That conviction was life-changing. What was even more life-changing about this was also that the next class I was going to take, where I was going to take a single class, was called Christian Theology 1. This was my favorite class to date. And the reason it was so interesting had to do a lot with now, all my other classes are definitely talking about God and talking about the Bible, and that's great. But this was my first exposure to the term systematic theology. And I'm not even sure that I can give you a good example of what systematic theology really means, to be honest with you, still. But the way I would describe it is, really, it's the rules that you follow in how you interpret the Bible so that way you interpret the Bible consistently. So I'm just going to make something up. But let's say you pull this one passage out and you're like, that's spiritual. And you kind of spiritualize the passage. Great. You go 5 books forward. The same words are being used. The same concepts being talked about. And now, for whatever reason, you say, yep, we're going to take that literal. The question becomes, is that right? And systematic theology really, again, no matter what we do, we just can't put God in a box, but we try really hard. And it's so ridiculous. But the point is that I do agree that there is an overarching plan of redemption. And that God is consistent. Perfect in his consistency. And I don't even know if I like the way that says, but he's perfect for sure. And that he's always going to be the way he is from the beginning of time to now to the end of time. And because of that, my belief is that we should interpret the Bible consistently. So systematic theology really opened up my eyes. And one of the questions they asked is this. It says, how might having an understanding of the concepts within systematic theology help you build your own spiritual life on a strong foundation? What might be some ramifications of trying to develop a robust spiritual life without an accurate understanding of theological concepts? And there's a lot to go into there and a ton to unpack, but for this purpose, I just want us to think about this, and this is going to be a shorter video, and I'm going to start working on having the videos be a little bit more condensed, but I want you to ask yourself, do you cherry pick verses out of the Bible? Has there ever been a time when you've asked yourself when you read this verse, am I over spiritualizing this? Or am I taking this too literally? And I think that one of the things that we have lost as Christians is our resolve. The understanding that God treats us, for all intents and purposes, and it talks about this in the Bible, like metal. And anybody who's done any metalworking, especially if we talked about building a sword, for example, that metal gets pounded and sent into the fire and pounded more and refined over and over and over again. And the idea is to make a strong metal and a strong sword, ultimately. And if we think of our relationship with Christ, that there are going to be these trials and there is going to be this refinement to build us into stronger Christians, the reason for that is so that we have the strength of our convictions. And those convictions should be tied to a strong theological foundation, for sure. How could it not? So, on that note, two things I want to leave us with is, first, please, 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 like, subscribe to these videos, share them. Also, if you feel compelled by the Holy Spirit, I encourage you to donate to my cause so that way I can continue with my online schooling and I can hopefully get to my goal. Another thing is I'm going to continue to do book reports. I finally created kind of a foundation. I just need to create some artwork so that way you'll know when it's a book report, and I guess a book review would be better, when it's a book review or when it's going to be another walk of faith with David, so to speak. So again, I really appreciate your time. For all of you that are seekers like myself, continue fighting the good fight. Like, subscribe, share, donate if God compels you. I appreciate you all. May God bless you and keep you.